My client Elena had normal hormone panels, but struggled with irregular cycles, fatigue, and unexplained infertility for years. After eliminating plastic for just 30 days, her lab results shocked us both. Hi, I'm Dr. Omatma, the holistic fertility doctor, and for nearly 20 years, I've been helping couples optimize their fertility by addressing the root causes that conventional medicine often misses. What happened to Elena's hormone levels wasn't just surprising, it completely changed how I approach environmental factors with all of my patients. Today, I'm sharing the exact protocol Elena used and the before and after results that demonstrate why plastic might be sabotaging your hormones also. As always, this information is educational only and not medical advice, as I'm not your personal doctor. I'm just a random doctor on YouTube, so make sure to check with your healthcare provider. Plastic is everywhere in our modern lives, from the water bottles that we use to drink water out of, to the containers we store our food in, the packaging around our products, and even the synthetic fibers in our clothing. Most people don't realize that many plastics contain chemicals that disrupt our endocrine system, the delicate network of glands and hormones that regulate everything from metabolism to reproduction. I understand the skepticism. When I first suggested to Elena that her plastic exposure might be contributing to her hormone imbalances, she was super doubtful. After all, if plastics were really that harmful, wouldn't everyone be talking about it? But here's why this matters. Endocrine-disrupting chemicals in plastics don't just affect fertility, they impact your energy, your mood, weight, and overall health. And unlike medications that have gone through safety testing, most of the 80,000 chemicals in our environment have never been adequately tested for their effect on human hormones. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through the science behind plastic's impact on hormones, Elena's remarkable transformation, and practical steps you can take to reduce your own exposure. Let's start with understanding the endocrine-disrupting chemicals and what they actually are. These are compounds that can mimic, block, or interfere with your natural hormones, essentially hijacking your endocrine system. The most well-known EDCs in plastic are bisphenol A, or often referred to as BPA. Despite the BPA-free labels on many products now, manufacturers are often substituting BPA with BPS or BPF, which are actually more toxic. Research shows they may be equally problematic, if not more problematic, than the original BPA. A 2018 study in Environmental Health Perspectives found that these substitutes have similar hormone-disrupting effects as BPA. Phthalates are another class of chemical compounds found in soft, flexible plastics and, unfortunately, many personal care products. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism has shown that phthalates can lower testosterone levels in both men and women and disrupt thyroid function. What makes these chemicals particularly concerning is that they don't follow the traditional toxicology principles that the dose makes the poison. Instead, EDCs can have significant effects at extremely low doses, sometimes in parts per trillion. They can also have different effects depending on when exposure occurs, with particular vulnerability during the developmental windows and periods of hormonal transition. A 2016 study in Environmental Health showed that when participants reduced their plastic for just 1 week, they had measurable decreases in BPA and phthalate metabolites in their urine. This suggests that making the changes can have relatively quick effects on your body's toxic burden. Elena came to me after 3 years of trying to conceive without success. She was 34 and had regular periods, but with heavy bleeding and significant PMS, struggled with fatigue, that was worse in the afternoon, and she had been diagnosed with mild hypothyroidism that her doctor said didn't need treatment. Her initial hormone panel showed several subtle but significant imbalances. Estrogen dominance with an estrogen to progesterone ratio of 28:1. Optimal is closer to 10:1. Elevated prolactin levels at 24 ng per ml. We ideally like to see below 12. And subclinical hypothyroidism with a TSH at 3.8 MIU per L. Ideally for fertility, we like it between 1.5 and 2. Low free testosterone levels at 0.8 pg per ml. The optimal range for free testosterone is 1 to 5. What was particularly interesting was her estrogen metabolism panel, which showed that she was primarily metabolizing estrogen through the 4-OH pathway, a more inflammatory and potentially harmful route rather than the preferred 2-OH pathway. Conventional medicine missed these connections because each value individually was either within range or only slightly out of whack. But when viewed together, they painted a picture of a hormone system under environmental stress. When I suggested that her daily habits might be contributing to these imbalances, Elena mentioned that she heated food in plastic containers, often had takeout containers made out of plastic, drank from plastic water bottles, and used conventional personal body care products, all potentially sources of endocrine disruptors. Together, we designed a 30-day protocol to eliminate plastic exposure as much as possible. We approached this in 3 different phases. Phase 1 was kitchen plastic elimination. Elena started by removing all of the plastic from her food preparation and storage, replaced plastic food containers with glass or stainless steel, switched to stainless steel or glass water bottles, and eliminated plastic cooking utensils, especially those used with heat. She stopped microwaving food in plastic, began storing her leftovers in glass containers or beeswax wraps. She filtered her water to remove microplastics and started buying more fresh food rather than the packaged items she was previously consuming. This phase was the most impactful, but also the most challenging. Elena found that investing in a set of glass containers with silicone, not plastic lids, was a game changer for food storage. Phase 2 was bathroom and personal care products that also had potential endocrine disruptors. We switched her to shampoo and conditioner bars instead of bottled products, replaced plastic toothbrushes with bamboo alternatives, started using natural deodorant in paper or metal packaging, switched to organic cotton menstrual products or a silicone menstrual cup, began making simple skincare products using ingredients like coconut oil and shea butter, and eliminated all synthetic fragrances which always contain phthalates. Elena found this phase surprisingly enjoyable. She discovered that many of these natural alternatives actually worked better than her conventional products, and her skin began to clear up within days. Phase 3, the hidden sources of plastic exposure. In the final phase, we addressed the less obvious sources of endocrine disruptors, such as declining paper receipts, which are often coated with BPA, chose more natural fiber clothing over synthetics. For example, linen is a really great alternative to a lot of the clothing that women wear, like polyester or even yoga pants and yoga clothes, which are often plastic. We removed the vinyl shower curtains and replaced them with cotton or hemp, and she switched to wooden or stainless steel hangers instead of plastic. Not super duper important, but this was a shift that she wanted to make. She began storing food in the freezer in glass containers rather than plastic bags, and chose cardboard or paper packaging over plastic whenever she was shopping. This phase required the most detective work as plastic is hidden in so many unexpected places. Elena became quite skilled at identifying potential sources of exposure. Throughout the 30 days, Elena faced several challenges. The biggest was the initial investment in alternatives, which we addressed by prioritizing the highest impact changes first and gradually implementing others. She also struggled with convenience, especially when eating out or traveling. We developed strategies like carrying her own containers and utensils and requesting no plastic when ordering food. After 30 days, we repeated Elena's hormone panel, and the results were incredible. Her progesterone ratio went from 28:1 to 15:1. Prolactin decreased from 24 to 16. TSH improved from 3.8 MIU per liter to 2.7 MIU per liter. She still had a little bit of a ways to go, but this is just month 1 without any other changes. Her free testosterone increased from 0.8 pg per ml to 1.3 pg per ml. Most significantly, her estrogen metabolism shifted dramatically. The ratio of 2-OH to 4-OH estrogen metabolites improved by 40%, indicating her body was processing estrogen through healthier pathways. We also saw a 62% reduction in measurable phthalate metabolites in urine and a 78% reduction in BPA. These changes occurred despite the fact that it's virtually impossible to eliminate all plastic exposure in today's world. What surprised me the most was the timeline of improvements. Elena began noticing changes in her energy levels within the first week, and by day 14, she reported that her PMS symptoms were significantly better. By day 21, she noticed that her skin was clearer and she was actually sleeping a lot more soundly. And by the end of the 30 days, her next menstrual cycle was less heavy and shorter in duration than it had been for years. The benefits Elena experienced went far beyond what we could measure in her hormone panels. Energy and sleep improvements that she experienced were really not documentable, but Elena's afternoon energy crashes disappeared in just 2 weeks. She began falling asleep more easily and waking up feeling more refreshed, something she hadn't experienced in years. Research suggests this may be related to an improved melatonin production, as certain plastics can actually interfere with this hormone. Skin changes. The persistent acne along Elena's jawline, often associated with hormone imbalance, began clearing up. This makes sense given that many endocrine disruptors in plastic are shown to trigger inflammatory responses in the body. Although weight loss wasn't a goal for Elena, she noticed that her clothes were fitting differently by the end of the month. She lost 3 pounds without changing her diet or exercise routine. Studies have shown that endocrine disruptors can act as obesogens, disrupting metabolism and promoting weight gain. Perhaps the most surprising to Elena was the improvements in her mood and mental clarity. She described feeling like a fog had lifted and found herself less reactive to stress. This aligns with the research that shows endocrine disruptors can impact neurotransmitter function and brain health. An unexpected benefit was Elena's increased awareness of environmental issues. What started as a personal health experiment evolved into a deeper commitment to reducing waste and making more sustainable choices. Elena's story has profound implications for fertility. 3 months after completing the 30-day protocol and maintaining about 80% of the changes, Elena conceived naturally. While I can't attribute this solely to reducing plastic exposure, we did have other interventions as well. The improvement in her hormone balance certainly created a more fertile internal environment. Beyond fertility, the long-term health implications of chronic endocrine disrupting exposure are significant. Research has linked these chemicals to increased risk of hormone-sensitive cancers, metabolic disorders, and neurodevelopmental issues. So perhaps the most concerning are the transgenerational effects. Studies show that exposure to EDCs during pregnancy can affect the development of the fetus and potentially impact the health of future generations through epigenetic changes. When we consider the cost-benefit analysis of reducing plastic exposure, the initial investment of time and money is minimal compared to the potential health benefits and reduced medical costs down the road. If Elena's story has inspired you, but a complete 30-day elimination seems overwhelming, here are the 5 most important plastic items to eliminate first for maximum impact. Plastic water bottles. Switch to stainless steel or glass and get a home filter for your water. This single change can significantly reduce BPA exposure. Number 2, reduce or replace plastic food storage containers with glass, especially for hot foods or anything acidic like tomato sauce, which can accelerate chemical leaching. Number 3, replace the nonstick cookware that has plastic components and opt for stainless steel, cast iron, or titanium. Number 4, plastic packaged personal care products. Consider replacing the items that stay on your skin like lotions and deodorants first. And number 5, canned food with plastic lining. Many cans are lined with BPA-containing resins. Look for glass jars or BPA-free cans instead. For budget-friendly alternatives, consider repurposing glass jars from pasta sauce or other foods, shopping secondhand for glass storage containers, making simple personal care products at home, implementing changes gradually as your budget allows. If you want to support your body's detoxification of plastic-derived chemicals, research supports these specific supplements: N-acetylcysteine, calcium D-glucarate, DIM, and a high-quality B complex to support methylation pathways. Additionally, I would say sauna and sweating are really important to help detox your body of stores of plastic that are already in there. To test your own hormone levels and track improvements, I recommend a comprehensive hormone panel that includes estrogen metabolites, testing at the same point in your cycle for accurate comparison, and including thyroid markers for thyroid function as well as prolactin levels. Considering a urinary test for phthalate metabolites and BPA. Remember that while lab tests provide valuable data, your symptoms and how you feel are equally important indicators of hormone balance. Elena's transformation from eliminating plastics was remarkable, but not unusual in my practice. 6 months after her initial 30-day experiment, she maintains about 80% of the changes and continues to experience improved hormone balance, energy, and overall health, all while being pregnant. And as I mentioned, she conceived naturally 3 months after completing the protocol. I understand that completely eliminating plastic from our lives is virtually impossible, and that's not the goal. The goal is to reduce exposure to a level that your body can effectively process without overwhelming your detox pathways. Some people worry that making these changes will be too difficult or too expensive. But as Elena found, starting with the highest impact items first and gradually implementing others makes it more manageable. And many of these changes, like using a reusable water bottle, actually saves you money over time. Your result may vary based on your individual situation, current toxic burden, and genetic factors that influence detoxification. But even small reductions in endocrine disruptors can have a meaningful effect on your hormones. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who could benefit. I've also created a free plastic elimination guide that includes a printable shopping list, product recommendations, and a 30-day tracker. The link is in the description below. Remember, your hormones respond to your environment. By creating a cleaner, less toxic space for your body, you're supporting your endocrine system's ability to naturally maintain balance and optimize function. Until next time, this is Dr. Omatma, the holistic fertility doctor, reminding you that small environmental changes can have profound effects on your hormonal health and your fertility. Peace.